Hey everybody! So today I wanted to share my Lego Winter Village setup that I have. This is my big project for this past winter. I did this with my son, created this whole diorama thing. We got a few more of the Winter Village sets and everything. So kind of wanted to talk about what we ended up creating. Just kind of a little bit of a rundown of what I'm going to be talking about in this video. I'm going to first just talk about the sets that I currently have. Then I'm going to go into quite a bit of the details of how I built out the whole layout itself. I know there's a bunch of different ways you can build these dioramas. This one was mainly with the foam and cardboard method. I thought about using Legos and things like that, but I was like, man, that's going to take way too much time. It's a lot of money to buy all the different Legos to build this much depth. My vision was I wanted to have a layout that wasn't just flat. I know a lot of people have their just sets sitting out, which is really cool, but I really wanted like 3 dimensions and stuff. I guess 4 dimensions, I don't know, but make it layered and things. There's different ways you can do it with books and fabric, but this is just the way I ended up doing it, okay, with the foam. So and then lastly, I'm going to kind of wrap it up with just different things I would have done next time and kind of what my future plans and goals are with the sets. So just kind of go over my sets. I have the 2013 Winter Village Market. I have the 2014 Santa's Workshop. It's a really cool set with Santa. Then we have the 2015 Winter Village Toy Shop. My favorite set, 2016, is the train, the holiday train. All right, it's a really cool one. It's got a motor and moves and everything. Then I got the 2017 Winter Village Station. That's the train station. Then 2018 Winter Village Fire Station. That one's pretty neat. 2019, the Gingerbread House. Gingerbread House is a really cool set. There's a lot of fun details and stuff with that one. And then the most recent one that I have is the 2020 Elf Clubhouse. Okay, so that's the one that came out this past year. So those are all the sets that I have. Let me show you kind of what I ended up having to do and things that I had to figure out in order to come up with this whole design. So the first thing is you got to figure out what the actual slope angle of the track is that the train can go up. All right. So I found a website on here by the Technic Gear. He writes a whole big blog post and explains in really a lot of detail of the slope angle and all that stuff. The biggest thing that I really found out that mattered was this photo right here where he talks about the number of tracks and the heights. Literally, I just printed this off and I used this. So for each track segment, you just, when you do one track segment, you put 2 bricks underneath the connection point. 2 plates. And then when you have 2 tracks, you do 1 brick and 2 plates. So literally, that's all I did. I followed this little image, this guide, and that's how I created my whole incline. So that's first thing, is figure out the slope and the incline. The other thing is I wanted in my whole layout, I wanted there to be a tunnel, so I wanted the train to go underneath the track. So you got to figure out what the actual height is of that tunnel or of the track in order for it to go underneath. So I was able to figure it out, and that height is basically when you get to 18 track lengths. So this is that same picture I just showed earlier, but I printed this off. When you get to 18 track lengths, that's when the train itself can go underneath the bridge. So, because my tunnel, which is right here, is a really cool feature that I wanted in my whole layout. So those were the 2 toughest things to kind of figure out, was basically slope, height, Then after that, it was just what do I want my whole overall layout to be, and I wanted it to be as compact as I could make it. This is a 6-foot lifetime table. I want it to fit on a table. Unfortunately, the way the track lays out, it's a lot like almost 2 feet bigger, like a foot on each end. So it's about like 8 feet long, a little bit shy of 8 feet. So, yeah, so I wanted the layout to fit on the table. Didn't fit, but it's all right. There's a software program that I found that I was working a bunch of different like track layouts with and stuff. It's from this website called 40 Bricks. These guys right here. I was dinking around on that, just kind of doing some different layouts and stuff. And that's how I came up with these right here. I ended up using the very bottom one. All right, that's the one I actually ended up using. It was the most compact with the pieces that I, currently had or have. Yeah, so now I'm going to kind of explain just kind of how I build everything out. So first thing was just working on getting the actual heights and everything figured out, just to confirm that the train can fit underneath. That's how I was figuring out that it's 18 track lengths. So then all I did is I cut out cardboard pieces that were as tall as each one of those pillars to support the track itself. And then I just cut out a cardboard version of the track that was going to be sitting on top of those pillars that I would end up gluing to it. So right here I'm just getting everything laid out with the cardboard. There we go, it's all cut up. You'll notice that I don't have all the tracks. So at this point in time I was ordering more curved pieces and more straights. They were coming in the mail, I just didn't have them yet. So right there I was getting ready to kind of glue everything up. And there we go, everything's glued. I just used cardboard and a hot glue gun, worked great. So that's essentially my slope going up to the North Pole mountain there that it goes around. And there I was kind of trying it out. Now, at this point in time, I figured something out that it was a little bit of an issue. So the slope, at least according to that website, was 3 degrees or whatever it was. I think that was actually not, it was mainly for the traditional Lego trains and not the actual holiday Christmas train. So there were a couple modifications that I had to make to the train itself in order for it to properly go up the track to the top of the mountain. So let me talk about those real quick, so that if you plan on doing anything like this, you kind of know what I did and maybe you can use what I did. So traditionally with this train, and you have the motor pack with it, the actual motor part goes underneath the engine. The coal car just has wheels. I actually swapped this. I put the engine underneath the coal cart, and this is just the regular wheels, okay? Oops. So what that does is that gives additional weight on the wheels themselves, all right? So the issue I was having is when the train was trying to go up the hill, the wheels kept slipping, all right, because there wasn't enough weight on the actual engine itself. So I ended up putting little gaskets, not on the front wheels, but on the back wheels. I put gaskets on there. I guess they're like O-rings. I had them right, oh yeah. So right here, number 9 O-ring, that's what it was. I just found it at Lowe's, and it gives a little bit additional traction for the wheels. So all this is doing is it's giving more weight and more traction, all right, because it was slipping trying to get up. I guess the traditional Lego trains have a bunch more weight and they don't have that slippage problem. So yeah, so that's essentially what I was figuring out right here, was that my train was slipping. I needed to correct that. So I did want to show you just real quick up close what that looks like on the actual coal car. Maybe you guys can like pause it and then you can like build it the same way that I did. I'm not going to actually take the whole thing apart. But yeah, so it's kind of how it is. Battery pack's still in there, motor's underneath, and then I have the O-rings on the back wheels. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, so yeah, so coming up with the layout here, this I was just confirming that the train could go underneath the bridge. That right there is the 18 track length mark for me in my layout. Just a couple pictures of kind of just showing the layout and stuff and things like that. Right here I was measuring how long the whole thing was actually going to be, because I ended up putting it underneath, or putting a 1/4 inch piece of plywood underneath the whole thing to give it support. I didn't want track like hanging off the edge, even though the track is still sitting on cardboard, but the plywood just gives it a little bit more strength. So right here I had all the cardboard figured out for the track layout, making sure the track fitted on it and all that stuff. And then the next step is basically foam design, or design the landscape. So all this is a 2-inch foam board. I bought it at Lowe's. I think it was like 25 or 30 bucks. And basically, well, it comes in a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet, and the stuff, you just kind of cut it up and lay it down. So a couple tools that I ended up using for this. This right here is just like a sheetrock knife. All right, so I had that. Then I had my box cutter. So this is just like a regular box cutter. This right here is like a bigger DeWalt box cutter. Just has a longer blade to go like 2 inches deep. And then the thing you're going to use the most is this guy right here, the foam cutter. All right. All this is, it's a hot wire. It's plugged in, hot wire, and it just like literally just slices through the foam. I got that on Amazon, and this is the box that it came in. So it's a Go Change foam cutter. I think it was $25. But that's how I basically cut all my foam and got it to work in the layout. So right there you'll see there's a can of glue. That spray glue didn't work. Don't use it. It's a waste of your time. Just use hot glue. That works the best. That's literally what I ended up using. So right here, just basically cutting a bunch of chunks and like laying it all in there. Trying to figure out kind of how it's all going to go down. And then right here I had started using the wire cutter, kind of creating that icy landscape look, like jagged ice and all that. There's a bunch of different techniques you can use when it comes to using the foam cutter itself. I was literally just like winging it and just like doing whatever. I wasn't really that picky with it, because I was trying to build this kind of quickly, since it was literally like it was already after Thanksgiving at this point. So I'm like, gosh, I need to get this thing finished. So yeah, so just kind of finishing up some of the landscape building there. At this point in time, I was still waiting for some more of my track to come in the mail. I got all the curves at this point in time, and then we're just waiting for the straight pieces. So just some different angles. This right here, I was kind of figuring out what the mountain of the North Pole is going to look like. So initially, it was all just going to be flat like that, with like one little step up. We ended up changing that and did a bunch of step ups. You'll see here in a second. So there we added another step up. Oh, right here in this photo, I'm also adding the foam spray, can foam, just to fill in the cracks and stuff. It works pretty good. It's really messy to work with. It's kind of a hassle to clean up. I think there may have been easier ways of doing that, maybe with like a caulk putty or something like that. But hey, it worked. When you paint over it, it doesn't look the greatest, but it's all right. It's fine. So at this point in time, I was starting to build out some of the actual sets, just to kind of see what they looked like when it came to how everything was laying out with the foam and the height and stuff. I know they give you the dimensions, but it helps a lot easier if you just have it built so you can just see it right there. Yeah, so right here I was figuring out the actual height that I wanted, the total height of the mountain. There you can see I had built out the Winter Village train station there. That's where I was going to go. And then I finished building out the gingerbread house, the fire station, and the toy shop, and just was kind of seeing how they would lay out down there. It was kind of a tight space. I kind of wanted it a little bit bigger, but that's how it looks. All right, now I'd cleaned everything off. Now I was getting ready to paint it, so I felt like it was good enough, or I liked the overall look of it. Literally, I just had a bucket of white paint in my garage. I just pulled that out and just started going to town. Ended up having to do 2 coats. That foam like really soaks in a lot of the paint, so just keep that in mind. But oh, the other thing is that mountain section, this whole mountain section, like literally will lift off. So it's open underneath there if you want to put stuff down in there or whatnot, maybe for storage and things like that. So that whole mountain piece comes off. So there is finished being painted, and I brought it upstairs into my living room and laid everything out. So it's all, all on there. Just took some close-up kind of shots of the different sets and things like that. But that right there is my full layout. So a couple things that I would do differently next time. One thing is clearance. Right here, for example, it's really tight under there. Sometimes the train will kind of hit the foam there. I could easily just go in there and kind of cut it. But what ended up happening is it did have enough space initially. But what happened is the paint that I used, it shrunk the cardboard. So the cardboard kind of actually peeled up on the edges. So the whole edge like kind of lifted up. Because it lifted up, it made that space tinier. So it was a lot tighter in there, and it touches every once in a while. So I probably would have used a different paint next time. The other thing is now that it's all built and laid out, I actually wish I would have made it a little bit wider, or maybe a little bit longer. So add like one more track length of straight, maybe in the curve here. So it gave a little bit more depth back in there. That way I had more space to put future sets or just to have enough space for my current sets because they're really tight in there. Last thing is I'll probably do a little bit of like touch up on the snow landscape. I thought about maybe making this like a tunnel right here, so it would like go underneath the second tunnel up here. I don't know if I'll end up doing that or not. Oh, the last thing that I do want to do, and I'll probably start next year, is getting the light brick sets. So each one of these Christmas sets does have a light brick set that goes with it, so you can literally put the LED lights all inside it. That way it really comes to life at nighttime, or when the lights are off. You can like everything like lights up and it looks really cool, like a lit up city. So that's just something that I also want to do. But that's basically my village. I'm going to give you a quick little tour of it, kind of a close up, so you can all see it and see the train go. So let me put the train back on the track here, connect it up. Make sure it's all good. Okay, it's on. All right, so we're going up to the North Pole. And it comes around. And it goes underneath the tunnel. Whoop! See what I'm saying? It's a little bit tight there, but so the different sets: the village, the toy shop, fire station, gingerbread house, clubhouse, Christmas or Santa, and then the market, Christmas market. So that is basically all of it. There were a couple additional sets that aren't officially part of the village. This right here is the little gingerbread one. And then this right here is the Christmas tree set, or the Christmas tree truck, I think they call it. I don't know, but so yeah, so that's basically everything. Yeah, so that's my village. So thanks guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comment section or whatever. I'll answer whatever I have. But yeah, tons of fun. It was a super fun project. So glad I did it. Had a blast doing it with my son, and it's a tradition we're going to keep doing for every year from here on out. So sweet. Thanks guys.